And let's face it, in the film industry today, there are a lot of movies being made and in existence. Therefore, it can be quite tough in order to make your project stand out from the rest. Well, that shouldn't be an issue for these next 10 movies because, quite frankly, they are utterly insane. And just for the record, Nick Cage does appear on this list twice. And this is also a list that involves a story about a cocaine-munching bear. Buckle in, because it's about to get nuts. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 upcoming movies that sound utterly insane. Number 10, The Adam Project. Ryan Reynolds is having an excellent year on the movie front. Well, mostly, I'm looking at you, Hitman's Wife and Bodyguard, with Free Guy and Red Notice proving massive hits for Disney and Netflix respectively. His upcoming slate looks pretty exciting as well, with 2022's The Adam Project set to reunite him with both Netflix and Free Guy director Sean Levy. Billed as a time travel action adventure, The Adam Project will find Reynolds' title character seeking help from his teenage self. Both versions of Adam must work together to find their father and save their future, all while being pursued by a villain in possession of some pretty powerful and dangerous technology. The story of a man meeting his younger self is ripe with comedic potential, and with Reynolds being one of the funniest actors in Hollywood right now, he'll undoubtedly bring his A-game in the quips department as well. Number 9, Disappointment Boulevard. Ari Aster's terrific 2018 horror flick Hereditary sent him from zero to hero overnight, making any project that he's involved in a must-see for film fans. He followed up Hereditary with 2019's Midsommar, a truly unsettling experience that cemented his position as the most unique horror director in the business, and his off-kilter style looks set to continue with his next effort, Disappointment Boulevard. In June 2020, Aster described his next film as a 4-hour nightmare comedy, which already sounds insane even before you throw his horror credentials into the mix. Add Joaquin Phoenix as the lead, an actor who isn't afraid to dial it all the way up to 11 and beyond, and this one is going to be a crazy work of genius or an overindulgent misfire. Either way, it should be very interesting to watch. Number 8, Violent Night. It's been a fair old while since we've had a great Christmas horror movie. 2022 will see a new contender enter the ring in the form of Violent Night. It's being described as a thriller movie set during the festive season, and while that doesn't sound revolutionary, it's the odd mix of talent involved that elevates this package from passable to genuinely intriguing. First up, David Harbour is set to star, an instant win for any project. It's easy to forget now, but we were all excited about Hellboy when we first learned that he was involved. Add to that the director of some crazy fun movies like Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, and Dead Snow, who is working from a script penned by the Sonic the Hedgehog writers, yes, really, and all backed by producers from 87 North, the company behind John Wick, Atomic Blonde, and Nobody. It is a bonkers recipe however you cut it, setting up Violent Night to be an incredibly nutty ride. Number 7, The Northmen. So Robert Eggers is just one of those auteur directors who makes truly unique films, from his 2015 feature debut The Witch to his 2019 psychological thriller The Lighthouse. So when you add Eggers' daring directorial perspective to a historical thriller about a Viking prince seeking revenge for the murder of his father, oh yes, please. Delayed due to the pandemic but now scheduled for a 2022 release, The Northmen stars Alexander Skarsgård as the prince in question, with Nicole Kidman as his mother, and Ethan Hawke playing the murdered king. As you'd expect from Eggers, this is going to be a dark, shocking movie with battle scenes galore and tons of bloody violence, including a scene where Skarsgård rips out someone's throat with his teeth. So one word for this, sold. Number 6, Imaginary Friends. As well as being one of the funniest actors in Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds is also one of the busiest. On top of The Adam Project, he's also got Deadpool and Free Guy sequels in the works, but arguably his most intriguing upcoming project is this. Described as a fantastical comedy, Imaginary Friends will see Reynolds join forces with John Krasinski. The project was involved in a huge bidding war in 2019, and based on that star power and the movie's concept, it's not hard to see why. The movie is set to follow a man who can communicate with people's imaginary friends. But in a dark twist, he can also communicate with those that have been forgotten or discarded. Some of these unloved imaginary friends ultimately turn to the dark side, and so it's up to this man to stop them. With Krasinski Krasinski acting, directing, writing, and producing, along with Reynolds as an actor and co-producer, the movie should be funny as all hell. Number 5. Duel. Doctor Who breakout star Karen Gillan has a habit of choosing interesting projects, from Oculus to Gunpowder Milkshake, and her upcoming movie Duel continues that trend, a high-concept sci-fi thriller set in a futuristic society where human cloning is not only possible, but actually pretty common. Her character is called Sarah, a terminally ill woman who decides to clone herself to spare her family the pain of passing. But then, in a Shyamalan-worthy plot twist, she miraculously beats the illness, leaving her in a bit of a pickle. You see, in this world, any human who creates a clone will expire after a certain amount of time, leaving her with only one solution, and that is to fight her clone to the death. Expect lots of one-on-one badass action sequences. Number 4. Samaritan. At 75 years of age, you'd think that Sylvester Stallone would be starting to slow things down a bit, yet, as evidenced by his current output, he's doing anything but. Despite being involved in the Suicide Squad, Expendables 4, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Samaritan might be the most exciting project that he's got on his docket right now, with the film reportedly being one of the best things being shown at CinemaCon 2021. From director Julius Avery, helmer of the criminally underrated Overlord, Samaritan offers a wildly different take on the superhero genre, with Stallone's superpowered Stanley living in retirement after a tragic event several decades prior. The film's action has been described as bone-crunching and badass, placing it far, far away from the family-friendly fun of the MCU. Watching Stallone wreck shop is always going to be a good time, but dialing up the bloody action by giving him superpowers is sure to make Samaritan one of the craziest movies that he's done in decades. Number 3. Renfield. It's Nicolas Cage as Dracula. We should probably just stop there. But do you need to know more? You're going to watch this. But you know what? I will tell you just a sliver more. It's being currently packaged over at Universal with an original story outline from The Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman and a script from Rick and Morty's Ryan Ridley. Nicholas Hoult will play the title character, essentially being Dracula's acolyte, and the Lego Batman movie's Chris McKay is going to direct. Just listen to all of that. How can you not want to watch this? Number 2. Cocaine Bear. It's a black bear that consumes 70 pounds of cocaine. Do you need to know more? I will tell you a bit more. Believe it or not, yes, a movie called Cocaine Bear is actually being made. Just let that sink in for a moment. But even more bizarrely, the idea itself didn't come from the mind of some madcap screenwriter. It's actually based on a true story from 1985. In December of that year, the New York Times reported that a 175-pound black bear had died from an overdose after ingesting 40 plastic containers of cocaine. The cocaine had been dropped from a plane by a convicted drug smuggler who was attempting to lighten the load while parachuting. Over 30 years later, this unlikely event was turned into a spec script that was soon picked up by Universal, with Jump Street and the Lego Movie helmers Phil Lord and Chris Miller attached to produce, and Elizabeth Banks on board to direct. For some unknown reason, the exact plot details of this film are being kept under wraps, but with Lord and Miller's influence, expect Cocaine Bear to be a hilarious, bonkers thrill ride that has as much fun as possible with its entirely weird concept. And number 1, the unbearable weight of massive talent. Just when you thought that Nicolas Cage couldn't outdo himself on the unusual-ometer, along comes the unbearable weight of massive talent. The film will star Nicolas Cage as a fictionalized version of himself, a creatively unfulfilled actor who just needs a bit of cash. So he accepts a $1 million offer to attend the birthday party of a Mexican superfan. But when things take an unexpected turn, Cage must become different versions of his most iconic movie characters, desperately trying to save his family from a dangerous situation. The premise is obviously quite ludicrous, and while the movie might not be great or even that good, one thing is for sure, and that is that it's going to be utterly insane. How insane? Well, the finished product is apparently too much for Cage himself, who has flat out refused to watch it due to its highly neurotic portrayal of him. He said, "It's just too much of a whacked out trip for me to go to a movie theater and watch me play a highly neurotic, anxiety-ridden version of me. So if Cage can't handle this movie's level of Cage, then we are in for one crazy treat." And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 upcoming movies that sound utterly insane. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, as well as my Warhammer Battle Reports, and I'd love to see you over there. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.